This girl on the left thought she was doing everything right, but turns out she wasn't. And then this girl on the right fixed 3 key mistakes and then ended up finally having some type of progress. I'm Alexandria, and in today's video, I'm talking about 3 fitness mistakes that I made in the beginning of my fitness journey. So one mistake that I was doing a lot in the beginning of my fitness journey was only working out in the morning and then doing nothing for the rest of the day. So because I work remote, it's not like when I lived in New York to where I was able to move around. Like literally my exercise was walking in New York. Like I would just like walk further to a train station or get off earlier on the bus and then walk home. But when I moved to Florida, it's not really the same way at all of having that type of daily movement throughout the day. So one thing that I would do when we first moved here was I would just do extremely long walks in the morning, like a 45-minute walk, and at least get in like about 8,000 steps. And then for the rest of the day, just relax. And then over time, it became annoying because I would do my walks damn near every single day, but I felt like nothing was actually changing in my fitness goals. And I really wasn't losing any weight. And I feel like I was like plateauing at a certain weight and I just couldn't budge going lower. So then one thing I started to think about was like changing up my workouts. So one thing I started doing instead was then adding like home workouts, like HIIT workouts, yoga workouts. Like I just started doing those in the morning and then just relaxing for the rest of the day. And it wasn't until I realized that I really wasn't doing any movement throughout the rest of the day where that was where the issue was. Because in the morning, I'm walking on an empty stomach, and then when I come back home, then that's when I eat, but then I don't work off anything that I just ate for the day. And then so one thing that I started doing instead was, instead of doing just like one straight long walk in the morning, was I would break up movement throughout the day. So instead of doing like a 45-minute walk in the morning, I would only do a 20-minute workout in the morning and then just do walks throughout the day. I'll either do like a walk after I finish my last meal and then just go for a walk outside. I now have a walking pad, so that's something recently that I've been doing, of using my walking pad. But one thing that's just been thoroughly beneficial is just waiting about like an hour after I finish eating to then use that time to do like any type of cleanup around my apartment, because then I'm now actually moving my body. So one mistake that I did realize in the beginning was I would just do like a workout in the morning and then do nothing for the rest of the day. And I just started thinking that, oh, maybe I just need to implement different type of workouts, when really it was I needed to prioritize different types of movement throughout the day, which I do know was the key ingredient of what I needed to fix. Because anytime when I'm in New York for work, like I don't do the same workouts that I do here at home because I don't have the same type of equipment or space. So what I end up always just doing in New York is just end up moving around a lot. And I'm only there for like no more than 4 days. But for some reason, I always end up losing weight when I come back. And I think it's majority because over the day, I'm always doing some type of movement. I'm either walking somewhere, then resting, then walking another 20 minutes, and then resting. So that movement throughout my day actually helps with my body digesting the food that it ate. So if you're someone who tends to just do like one major walk in the morning, or do just like one major exercise in the morning, and then just basically like stay seated for the rest of the day, one thing to do is probably shorten the workouts that you're doing in the morning and then do little breakups of movement throughout the day. And then it also helps because I don't have to do such a long workout anymore. And I get better results of just doing a shorter workout and then movement, as opposed to doing one major workout and then overstressing my body and then not getting the results that I want. So when it came to me changing my workouts, another mistake that I realized that I was doing HIIT workouts every day. And not only was I doing HIIT workouts every day, I was doing the full body HIIT workouts every day. And I think I was doing weights like a couple of days. I don't really remember how many times I was doing weights. But one thing that I realized was like I was not learning how to separate muscle groups. Now, I'm definitely someone where I say that it's better to just start and then learn what you're doing wrong and then make the changes as you go along, because I think it's much easier than trying to overwhelm yourself with trying to do everything right. And so like trying to have like leg day, arm day, like abs day, all that stuff, I think it's just better off of starting, because at least you build that consistency. But then one thing I started to realize was, again, I was plateauing a lot and I started to look bloated. And I'm like, why do I look bloated and I'm doing doing all these HIIT workouts. And I think in the beginning, it actually did work from when I was switching from doing walking to then HIIT workouts, because my body was getting some type of new type of intensity movement. But then when I just kept doing it every day, it started to overly stress out my body and I didn't realize it. So I'm actually getting into like learning about the hormones and learning how hormones affect our body. And then one thing that I learned about was the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol basically is stress on the body. And when you have high levels of cortisol, it then makes it harder for you to actually lose weight, and then it slows down your metabolism. So as I was doing something that I thought would help increase weight loss, I was stressing out my body so much that it couldn't work on actually doing what I wanted it to do, that it was now actually going against the goals that I was trying to aim for. So one thing that I learned to do was really pay attention to like cortisol and when my body is highly stressed. So I have the Oura Ring. So when the Oura Ring says that my body's in a high stress state, as much as I may want to do exercise that day, I just end up like resting and probably just doing like slow movement throughout the apartment, so that way I'm not so sedentary. But I feel like when I've started to listen to when my body is stressed out, when I try to work out when it's already sore, it just makes matters worse. So one thing that I started to do instead was, number one, stop doing HIIT workouts every day, then break up my workouts and then do certain muscle group type of workouts. So that has been extremely beneficial because I'm now not overly stressing out my body. I give myself variety and I now also give myself rest days. And the last one is prioritizing protein. I am honestly shocked about how many times I have mentioned protein, especially because I did not give a crap about protein 3 years ago. I just didn't pay attention to it. And I would see so many videos and things of like people talking about increase your protein, high protein meals, high protein this. And I'm like, I just don't understand. And then when I started really working towards my fitness goals, I then understood. And I think this is where I've seen, honestly, some of the most changes when it comes to like seeing my body get more structured, especially like my arms and my little 2-pack that I have. So when it comes to protein is really good because number one, fiber used to be something that filled me up. Like if I ate a high fiber meal, it would fill me up for a large period of time. However, when I started doing my workouts, that really wasn't the case anymore. And so that's when I ended up starting to introduce more animal-based products back into my diet. And once I started implementing animal-based protein, especially of eggs and chicken, those are the ones that I eat the most. I feel like number one, I ended up getting full longer, and then also protein helps with muscle repair. So because I was getting full longer, because I was getting more higher sources of protein to help with like muscle repair of when I do my weights and when I do my workouts, it was then easier for my body to actually go towards where I'm trying to go. So one thing that I did before was I really didn't pay attention to any type of like nutrients. Like I just felt like because I went from the standard American diet to then a Whole Foods diet at the time, I'm getting much more nutrients than I did before. So I really wasn't paying attention to it. And then another thing that I just kept looking and paying attention to was adding varieties of color. But then when I started my fitness journey and then I felt like that was no longer working, especially because I also felt like I was getting hungrier sooner, then that's when I started implementing the protein again. Now the way that I eat now is completely different than not completely different, but mostly different than how I ate 2 years ago. Before, it would just consist of a lot of vegetables and colors, and that would be my meal. And then today, every single day, I prioritize at least 2 types of protein. So for breakfast, 9 times out of 10, I always have eggs. So I either have hard-boiled eggs, I have scrambled eggs, fried eggs. I just swap out what I have with the eggs, or if I'm not that hungry, then I'll have the eggs by itself. And then for when it comes to like a snack, like if I'm not fully hungry for a meal, but I want something more than a snack, then I'll have my Greek yogurt. And when it comes to dinner, the main things that I have for protein are usually chicken, and if I have some type of Asian dish, then I'll have like another fried egg with it. But I've been tracking what I eat recently for the past 3 weeks, and I realized that I actually wasn't getting a lot of protein. And so I've been trying to find different foods of getting higher sources of protein, which has been thoroughly hard. But I know that if I have at least eggs, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, or chicken, that automatically boosts up my protein. So I found that those 4 foods are the highest when it comes to increasing my protein intake. But I do find that it's been harder for me to learn of other ways of increasing my protein. But those are the top 4 things that I usually eat throughout the week. So those are the 3 fitness mistakes that I made in the beginning of my journey. I'm still well along the beginning of my own journey and still working on what to improve, what to keep, what to change. And I have found that those 3 things were things that were going against me going towards my goals and seeing the change now from where I was then to where I am now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments, and what's one thing you've changed in your workout routine that has made a difference. I don't know all the answers, and maybe what you contribute could also help someone else in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.